someone again. He occupies a position of Indra, and then he gets the idea. But that also means, then Indra's wife, who is living in separation from her husband. Then he starts thinking back, says, she should be with me. She should enjoy with me. And he gets that idea. I mean, it's just an idea he gets in his head. Again, of course, not authorized, completely illicit, but it's he gets this idea, and no one can talk him out of it. That's the danger when this gets so much worship like that. One can suddenly get ideas, and even though others will come and explain to you, this is, it's just an idea you have, and it's wrong. But you don't listen to anyone like that. Like Ravana couldn't listen to anyone. He just wanted to enjoy Sita. And everyone was advising Ravana, give up Sita, don't even try to kidnap her. And when he had kidnapped her, everyone was saying, all the people of Lanka, even Kumbhakarna was telling Ravana, give Sita back. Even Ravana's 9 heads was telling his 10th head, give up Sita. but his so-called real head didn't want to listen. So that's a danger. Same thing happened here with Nahush. I mean, everyone saying this is not proper. It's not. No, Sachi is not your wife. You're saying, but I'm Indra. I should enjoy it. She should be with me. And then in the end, he makes approaches towards Sachi, and she's desperate. What can I do? And then she actually approaches, what is it, 6 wishes, 7 wishes? Yes, that's 7 wishes, but in this case it is 6 wishes, it could be 7 wishes for help. And they promise, yes, we will definitely, we'll help you out of this situation. So then they make the plan that she sends a message to Nahush. Yes, I'll enjoy with you, but I'm not an ordinary woman. So you can. It's on the condition that you'll come here to me, being carried in a palanquin by the 7 sages. 7 sages will carry you. If it's 7, I'm not sure. It's the reason why I say 6 because palanquin needs an even number, same number on both sides. But it might have been 7 sages anyway. They are, it's kind of establishing the 7 sages, which, by the way, is also a position. It's not. It's rotating in every manvantara also. The 7 sages, they are rotating. But so then Nahush, he gladly agrees to that, and he calls for the 7 sages, and then he asks them to carry him in a palanquin to Sachi, which is, I mean, you can see at that point he's so much out of his mind that he asks the 7 sages like that, because again, they were actually positioned, they were way above Indra and way above Nahush. But they agree, it's a plan, it's a conspiracy against Nahush, and he just steps right into the trap. So he's been carried in there, and one of the sages carrying him is Astavakra. Is it Astavakra? Who is a very peculiar sage. Actually, I mean, not in the terms of, but his body is peculiar. He's not very big. He's actually quite small, and then the reason why he's called Astavakra is because he's actually bent in 8 places in his body. So he walks in a very funny way, and he's smaller than the other sages. So when the palanquin is being carried by Nahush is carrying the palanquin by the 7 sages, and Astavakra is in the front, he's in the corner. And so actually the whole thing, first of all, is smaller, so it's
tilt.
tilts, yeah, and then the way he's walking, and Nahus is just being thrown here and there. He gets so angry. And also, Astavakra doesn't walk very fast. He's getting impatient. So finally he just, gets out his foot and he kicks at Astavakra. He says, "Sarpa, Sarpa," which means faster, faster. And then Astavakra turns around and says, "You, Sarpa." And what does that mean? Sarpa also means snake. So you become a snake. So he's cursed there and he becomes a snake. And so that's another, it's a discussion of entanglement in this section of the Bhagavatam. And also with the instruction that, of course, we have to learn the art of not being entangled. We are entangled in this world. It's said like a banyan tree that one cannot find in. That's Bhagavad Gita's Udban Mula Ada Shakham. That this world is like a banyan tree with its root upwards and its branches down, and we just entangled in this enormous banyan tree. Banyan trees can be enormous. You can have one banyan tree covering square miles, square kilometers, because they grow up. Branches go down, then they have the side roots coming down, they go down, they attach themselves to the ground, they start growing and become trunks, and new branches comes out, and side roots go down, and in this way, it's one tree, but it can become one big forest. And to find out actually where's the root of a tree, where's the beginning, where's the end, and like that, it's practically impossible. So Krishna, he talks about that also in the Bhagavad Gita. That's what the material world is like. Life in the material world is such an entanglement. This pastime here, this illustration of that, how in the end, you probably cannot figure out how did I get into this situation like that. This led to that, which led to this, and so on. And how do we get out? Krishna says by detachment. One has to buy a weapon of detachment. Learn, simply, not even just be detached, not be attached to living, and also in one sense not be detached, and that's not being averse to the situation, simply just be detached and transcendental by acting and giving all the results simply for the satisfaction of Krishna. That's because that's what renunciation means. Renunciation doesn't mean stop working. It means acting as one is supposed to act, but giving the fruits of one's activities to the Supreme. And as I said, renounced order of life means simply that one doesn't act for. One has given up all fruitive activities. One doesn't act any longer to enjoy the result of one's activities, because this is the very reason why we entangle, that we want to enjoy the fruits of our activities, and thus we are acting also independently. That is also what entangled us. We see of the Indra, he's acting again and again. He does things independently, without for his own enjoyment. These two things, they're connected, and thus he gets more and more entangled. Then the secret is to do the very opposite, to always act according to instructions of authority, and not to perform any fruitive activity. Simply act for the pleasure of the Supreme, for the pleasure of Krishna, and for the pleasure of one's authorities, and act as one is supposed to, but not trying to enjoy anything for oneself. That's how one gets disentangled again from this world. And in one sense, actually, that's how one will always stay untouched. Like the lotus is always out of, it's never touching the water, although it is in water. That's the art. of living in this world, to learn how to live in this world without being at all touched by this world. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I said something.
It seemed like this renunciation or charge or sannyas. It seems that because Krishna says directly in the 18th chapter that charge is actually best. But he also says that in a similar way that sannyas is best. Also in the 12th chapter he says you should constantly think of me and give up all activities. So that's sort of like sannyas. I think there's 6th chapter also in the beginning.
Yeah.
So in different places Krishna mentions Ramja. My question is it according to, because it's so rare that people can actually take to that level of devotional service, sannyas, and giving up all material desires, but it's much easier to renounce the fruits, even though that can be difficult enough, but still.
Yeah. But one has to come to the level of sannyas. I mean, maybe it is a gradual thing, but everyone has to be in sannyas by mentality. You know, everyone has to be in the renounced order by mentality. And actually come to the point of real surrender. Where one is not even attached to the nature of the work, but one is simply like this nectar devotion. It is described that when some think that surrender means that one offers the fruits of one's activities of service. But actually surrender means that one surrenders to Krishna with his body, mind and words completely, and then engage in Krishna's service. So, and that's according to Rupa Goswami, this is actually surrender. Not just, acting still according to one's own idea, how one wants to act, and then the fruit is given to Krishna. It's low. That's a lower level. It's one real devotee offers his body. It's that my body does not belong to me. My words do not belong to me. My thoughts do not belong to me. And he offers it all for Krishna's service, and then he engages in Krishna's service as Krishna wants it. And one has to come to that. One has to come and act on that level. Not only simply renouncing the fruits of. It is a level. It's niskama karma yoga, which it is also a transcendental level, but we're supposed to go further. We're supposed to come to the point of real surrender.
So is it according to the Adikai, that's what you're saying, right? It's according to Adikai, that where one is situated in the devotional service, if one can, like Paramahansa said, he recently takes sannyas, but most of us are not, so we should more.
But taking sannyas is not, sannyas doesn't even mean in that sense the official renounced order of life. It's for everyone. Yeah, because Krishna is speaking to Arjuna and saying he should also be a sannyasi while he's still fighting as a warrior. So it's a hope. It's just an attack. Everyone should be internally sannyasis.
So should Nahusa, should he have given up that, should he have renounced that because he could see that he would get in trouble? So would it be proper renouncement? Because that's actually, sannyas is just surrendering in one sense. But he says okay, I can give up the fruits, I can give up the position of being Indra because I know I'll get entangled. So should he have disobeyed the orders of, in this sense, the demigod?
Good question, I don't know. But we might sometimes find ourselves in situations where it's advisable to say no to certain positions or services, because one know that I'll not be able to to survive in that kind of service. But then of course someone has to do it, someone has to be Indra, someone has to be guru, and someone has to be leader, and someone has to be temple president, and someone has to do it. So it's can be a perplexing situation. So what to do? Just be glad it's not you. I'm glad it's not me.
I remember hearing in a lecture that if you, like say a leader, he sees that a person, he has some inclination, but he needs something done. Example is giving, like we need a cook for food for life. And we have a guy who's cooking small amounts, and he likes that service, but he's not like this gross cooking, just huge kitchens and like that. So you take him temporarily, but then the real leadership is really to find, at the same time, okay, I need this person now, but then the duty of the leader is to find a suitable person for that job, and then take him back to his mana ashram.
Just a technical thing. You started off the class with mentioning that one should always bow down to the spiritual master, whether you see him 50 times a day or. I was just wondering because what about like in total public, it could seem weird for people who are like, for ordinary people in society, if you just fall flat like a stick on the street.
Generally do it anyway, but ask the guru.
Oh.
He might say, no, we should not disturb people, so we don't do it. But or maybe in one sense we're not so concerned about what people think. Let them think what they think. At least they will think. By not doing anything, you're not, okay, you're not disturbing them, but also you're not making any impression or anything like that. It's just, life just goes on. Maybe they will think this is you're being manipulated by someone like that, but it makes them think. So we shouldn't be so, personally, for example, also I think that, most of the time, as soon as we should basically always be dressed as devotees and like that, or for example, when we are traveling like that, traveling as devotees, Dodi, Tila. It's fantastic to be on airplanes and just travel as a devotee. And many people, of course, think, but at least they notice that there's a devotee there, and it somehow or other reminds them of Krishna. Reminds them of he's a religious person and something like that. And it's we shouldn't hide. We shouldn't be ashamed of what we have a culture, a lifestyle, values. We stand for them, and we're not afraid. We're not hiding because others don't understand or think we should not do it or something like that. But I think we have to stop now. I mean, there's a school program at 10 o'clock and the prasadam has to be, we have to take prasadam quickly. So I think we just have to stop here.
Sure. Just a small point. Even better is to travel with books.
It's not either or.
No, but you didn't mention it, so I mentioned it.
Yeah, sure.